You're inside of this prison. Infirmary in disarray with an operating table in the middle of the room. Leather straps strap down Xerophon on top of the table as he's speaking to you. He appears to be a thin, middle-aged male, sallow complexion, one blue eye and one green eye, with a streak of silver in long jet black hair. He must have been strapped to this table for centuries, in a state of suspended animation which you, through the power of Sylvanas, I believe, have been able to relieve. He begs you, please, release my strap, release my bindings, such that I may help you in your endeavors.
So I attempted to, I believe, if I remember correctly, Zone of Truth him.
You did, and he passed that.
And he shrugged it off. And John Hawkins knows that, but Cadillac, I don't think, does not.
I don't.
And so,
let me do a rule query on this.
Okay.
Does the caster of Zone of Truth know if the check is passed?
Because it would help to know if I can be suspicious about that. Because he's acting suspicious, but which probably would have prompted me to cast Zone of Truth in the first place.
Yes. Okay. You do know. This is from Roll20 from the compendium. You know whether each creature succeeds or fails its saving throw.
Okay.
So Cadillac knows. Cadillac knows that he has been able to fend off your spell when he answers you.
Okay. Then I'm going to then not
maybe Cadillac thinks he's powerful.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if he didn't have anything to hide, he wouldn't have bothered shrugging it off. And so I immediately sort of take that as a concerning note to begin with, and that gives me pause about releasing him.
There's no need to cast spells upon me, sir. You have freed me from my state of suspended animation. You wouldn't leave me strapped here to die on this table. That surely is not what your God would command of you.
What do others think?
You're a warrior, a holy
He lasted
warrior
this
of light.
long. He was in prison for a reason, and he lasted how many hundreds or thousands of years?
But now I am unleashed from a state of suspended animation. It would be torture. Worse than murder. It would be like crucifixion to leave me here. I will help you. You need a guide around the city. It's been thousands of years. I know the way.
I will support whatever the group wants to do.
He looks over at you and he says, surely your God, you worshipper of he says, you worshipper of Sylvanas, wouldn't want to torture souls. You're a cleric of light and nature. This is unnatural.
Well, I'm also like death is okay too. It's all a part of the circle of things. Treewad, you had something to say, and I go over and begin tending to Treewad's branches.
So, Leonard, in response to that exchange, says, and my God is logic and reason, and logically, it concerns me that a city full of powerful magicians who had no need for magic stores thought fit to imprison you in suspended animation that lasts centuries. That seems like that's kind of a big deal.
It wasn't their intention, I believe, for me to be suspended for centuries.
Well, they accidentally imprisoned you
They were
securely.
here.
It's always a misunderstanding.
I tripped and fell.
Tripped and fell into these shackles and it's suspended animation.
He says, he explains.
That's what he told the ER nurses.
He said, I was but a low-born Netherese manservant to my master Iorlathus. I was imprisoned here for disobedience, where they would strap us down and perform experiments upon the lowborns to further their magical knowledge. Terrible experiments. They would put us in suspended animation to perform these. And I was chained, strapped down, placed into suspended animation, and then the city fell. The crash came at that time, and I was lost. All the others perished in the collapse.
I'm going to ask Professor Ebenezer Scott if that sounds like something that would have happened based on his knowledge of the Netherese.
I don't know about experiments on human subjects. It's possible. It would make sense that if he was strapped down and the crash came, he could have perhaps been left here. But if the Netherese did perform human experimentation, then it would be a new area of knowledge for me.
So what exactly did you do to warrant this kind of punishment?
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing at all. I didn't do anything.
Of course.
I was a good boy.
Misunderstanding.
I disobeyed my master's orders. He sort of hangs his head down shamefully. I stole from him powerful spell components. I was sent to fetch. I brought them, but kept some for myself, training myself in secret. It was illegal for lowborns such as me to learn the high magics. I read from his books, studied the texts myself, and stole spell components. And for my insolence and disobedience, I was sentenced here.
So we've got a vote from Professor Scott to dissect him for science. Cadillac says leave him tied up. I don't know if I thought he was legitimate, like I'd have sympathy, but he just sounds sinister. Like,
is it my voice?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Amongst other things.
It's
you sound like the bad guy. And the invisibility doesn't help. Like, you sound like the invisible bad guy who, when we let go, slips off into the night, and then we don't see you again until we get stabbed in the back at the finale. Oh, you see someone...
Stab.
Right.
Right.
You see someone come out of the shadows clad in a glowing purple robe. Oh, great. This guy.
You should have left me chained up.
Right. And then the monologue starts. The biggest mistake you made was letting me loose.
I'm here to help you. I can guide you around the city. He looks over at you and he says, you. He doesn't say Leonard, but he says, you're a man of mechanics and logic. What could I do against you? You all 4 or 5 powerful adventurers, armed with powerful weapons. I have nothing. I have already told you who I am and why I was here. The only thing I seek, the only thing I could possibly gain is my freedom by aiding you. Why would I cross you? What logical sense does it make?
High magics.
All of my kins are dead now, long gone and past. I remain here. You all have freed me from eternal torment. I can start a new life elsewhere, escape from this city. Why would I want to bring harm to you? You, my rescuers, my saviors.
I mean, Leonard can be persuaded to let him go.
What is it? Let me allow me to. Perhaps I can offer you a token, some bit of knowledge that could convince you of my intentions. It says, what is it you seek here? I can provide information, more than your little orb you care about. I've lived in this city. Ask me anything, I will answer truthfully, and show you that I mean no ill, only to aid you. Apologize for my voice. It's been thousands of years, and I'm a bit scratchy.
You did also wriggle out and fight off my zone of truth. So if you were intending to be that truthful, then it wouldn't have bothered you. So really what you've told us is what you want us to know, which is not the same thing as the truth.
No, I didn't know what spell you were casting upon me.
Can a creature elect to fail zone of truth?
You merely cast a spell on me, and I resisted it as any natural being would.
It does not bode to your favor.
Cast it again, then.
Oh, now that's an interesting thing. Wait a minute. You just want me to whittle away my spell slots so that I can't fight you off when you turn into an evildoer. Truthfully, I do have a spell slot to be able to recast Zone of Truth.
Ooh.
Now that may be okay. So now that'd be something that you could prove to us if you just fall on your sword of Zone of Truth.
Fair enough. Cast it. If this is what it takes to free me from these bonds, so be it.
Okay. It is let me pull up my thing here. And all right. It is so cast.
Another spell slot burned. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't say that.
You fool.
He fails the check. I submit to your magical interrogation. What do you wish to know?
Are you really a prisoner?
Yes.
Are you really a servant?
No.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much high magic do you know?
0.
This is taking a turn.
Why are you a prisoner?
I was captured.
While doing what?
Bad things.
Oh.
Like not cleaning appropriately or murdering? Like how bad a bad thing?
More like the second one.
All right.
Did they deserve it?
To me, they did.
Do you intend harm to us?
No.
What are you going to do if we let you go?
I will continue to figure out who you are and why you're here. As long as it is useful to me, I will provide information to you. I will happily show you what I know of the city and my attempts to escape this place.
Do you really know stuff about the city?
Yes.
But not like magic stuff.
I know magic myself. I dabble.
Piddle. He has won me over. I now support releasing him into the world I'm sure that will have no devastating consequences for anyone, least of all.
All right. I just needed one person on the side of release, so I'm there.
Okay, you untie the murderous liar. He says, "Thank you. I'm glad you did not probe deeper. That would have been somewhat embarrassing."
Well, you still have to answer questions while you're standing in the
I
circle.
I step out of the circle.
That's enough of that.
I think that's enough of that.
So I do have one more question, if you would deign to answer it.
Yes.
And it's a two-part question. So first part is, were you working for/with someone in the city?
No.
Okay. Well, then the second part is immaterial.
What are your goals here? How may I aid you?
We, Jeff, am I affected by Zone of Truth?
Are you in the circle?
I'll step outside the circle, and I'll tell him that we want to reboot the city and get it flying again.
I will say this, it's a 15-foot radius, like in all directions, so yeah,
Professor Scott speaks up from the bag in Villion's bag and says, "That would be impossible." He says, "Then what you need is to reach the city's source of power, the Mythalar."
That sounds like a start.
Yes. Located in the spire of our Lethus.
Yeah, but how do we get there? How do we get in? It looks protected.
It is protected by a force field of magic. In order to get in, you must perform the ritual, the rite of the arcane dad.
The rite of the arcane dad?
Octad, like 8.
Is
the
it
rite
father?
Of the arcane octad. No.
So we got to come up with good dad jokes for this.
I'm leaving.
I'm leaving. I'm dad.
We're gonna do this all night long.
He says, "Oh dear. Yes, the rite of the arcane octad. The steps of the ritual are hidden inside of the towers dedicated to the 8 arcane schools of magic."
Well, having your help to allow us to navigate this city and its wonders and neighborhoods would be very helpful. So we appreciate you tagging along with us. What, now that you are freed from your state of sleep, what goals do you have within the city?
I still in the zone of truth?
Yes.
How long does that last for?
3 days.
Does not.
10 minutes.
He says, "I have no ill intentions towards you, if that's what you mean."
Oh, I did not mean that necessarily. I'm just curious at how long our paths will be similarly aligned until you basically sort of have your own things that you're going to accomplish.
My goal is one of self-preservation above all. I seek my freedom from the imprisonment that I have been placed in. And so long as your pathway aligns with me achieving that, then I will aid you. I will be honest. At my opportunity to escape this place, I will take it.
I would like to pose to you that you have not been in this world for a long time, and we know a lot about the goings on, the people in power, and we have had a lot of experience with battling and maneuvering in this world, I would argue that we are a very we are a very we are a force to be reckoned with, and I think that we would be good allies for you if you would decide to become a member of our group. I think it would be a very mutually beneficial arrangement.
Like another party member?
Correct. I think that we could do you as much help as you can do for us. And
I
so
guess
I think that that's something I'm interested to
roll
see if you
persuasion.
consider that. Persuasion?
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks at you and he says, very honestly, I don't believe that I will need your aid in navigating this new world. I am resourceful, and I have no interest in adventuring or becoming an adventurer. My interest is in escaping here. I will show you what I know of this city. When the opportunity presents itself for me to take my leave, I will do so. And consider that the price of my aid, so that when I have my opportunity to take my leave, I will do so.
What's your name?
Xeraphon.
I was totally going to ask if we had his real name yet.
Yeah, you do. His name's Xeraphon.
Okay, I just figured I'd make sure this wasn't like some long and storied hero of aeons past, or well, maybe Xeraphon is. I don't know. I don't know that name.
No, you don't. He says, I am resourceful, though.
Fair enough. Well, we were headed towards the grove, and I tell him about the inscription that we found in the tower and our interpretation of it.
He says, that appears to be one of the steps of the arcane octad, but it wouldn't be enough. You will need to complete all 8 steps. It could be found in each of the towers of the schools of magic. They are located around the city. Where you're headed, the grove would be the Arboretum. And I do believe that, yes, there was a tree there that was once referred to as the Nether Oak.
Okay, so
Netherese mages would craft their wands and staffs from the wood of this oak.
Is the Arboretum the forest area?
Yeah, that you saw over on 10, or not that you see over here, the little golden area.
Yeah. Okay, so we're close by. Like, that would be as near as any of the towers to us at this point.
Yeah, there's several other things around you, sort of to the north over this way, and, there's another, like, spikety building here, but if you're heading directly towards the Arboretum, that's something you can definitely do.
And the thing that looks like it connects to the central spire.
You have not explored it.
The hallway or whatever.
Yeah, this hallway that sort of leads over and up.
Yeah.
You've not checked it.
Okay.
You haven't checked it out.
I want to ask him about that firstly.
He says, yes, it is an entrance into the spire.
But we need to have completed the Arcane Octad to use it?
Yes, it is protected like others.
Okay.
It is a, and he speaks a word in the Netherese language that you don't really understand, and Professor Scott sort of comes out of his little bubble and says, the best translation I have is a magic elevator.
All right.
It is an elevator into the spire. But it goes not only up and down, but sideways, frontways, and backways. More like a wonkavator.
Excellent.
Yeah. So you have freed Xerophon.
Yeah, I sort of want to go to the Arboretum and complete like the step of the plan that we know about.
Okay.
What do you fellers think?
That is my vote too. Let's hit the trail.
I've been chomping at the bit to get to this wand of whatever kind of thing that anyway, thinking that there's got to be something fun and furry over there that I can skin and make a pelt out of.
Ooh, Xerophon. Okay. We saw evidence of burrowing creatures or some form, or were there any wildlife that you recall that were in zoos or otherwise within the city that may have been loosed upon its crash?
I was strapped down on this crash.
Well, you would have known if there were any creatures of servitude or recreation or anything else within the city before its crash, right?
Yeah, but he presumes they would all be dead, long since dead.
Okay. So no long-fanged burrow beasts that may now be problematic.
I mean, nature abhors a vacuum.
I mean, this place has been crashed under a glacier for thousands of years, where burrowing horrors from the Underdark can make their way into it. So
that makes sense.
So yeah, maybe.
Got it. Thank you, Xerophon.
Okay. You are heading over to the Grove. You make your way past the Arboretum. Make your way past crumbled buildings and all sorts of like homes and storefronts and schools and just all parts of the city. And eventually make your way over to there. And what you see is a canopy of golden leaves crowning trees inside of this like sunken basin. You're all over here. And Xerophon says, wizards from years past would carve their wands and staffs from the nether oak. The trees grow in stark contrast to the bleak surroundings of the city. Their branches sway even though the air is deathly still, as if swaying in some sort of invisible breeze. Vents around the space and the perimeter of the wall emit puffy gray vapor, which rises above the treetops and disperses itself as rain. An illusory atmosphere above the Arboretum projects a false sky. It's somewhat malfunctioning now, so it sort of is flickering between what looks like a wild storm above the Arboretum and then a field of stars, sort of flickering back and forth. And misty vapors are coming up from vents that are creating the rain that rains down on these trees.
I am absolutely hypnotized by this environment. This is really, really interesting to Cadillac. Is there anything that I notice in particular about the trees themselves or other or the other plant life within the Arboretum, given my natural affinity?
Roll me a nature check. The trees seem to have like an aura of life energy about them.
Hmm.
And there is one tree that stands out far and above all the others. In the center of the arboretum, you can see its tops. It's larger and more gnarled looking than the others. A canopy sort of towering above the remaining trees.
I guess I pointed out to the group, as we're walking towards it, do these trees appear to sort of go through a natural life cycle? Like, for instance, can I tell that they're growing and, dying and falling and branches falling off, or are they sort of like in suspended animation magically?
They appear to be like normal trees.
Hmm.
Like they're not like going through rapid, fast life cycles or anything like that. Like I don't know, like you might imagine like just sort of like rapidly fast life cycles going through, but they just look like a regular tree, like you would have seen like in a park in another world.
So, when we get to the big tree, I start sort of kicking around a little bit, just sort of offhandedly, in the around the base and around the brush and everything. I want to try to find an acorn from this
When
grove.
you come upon the big tree, you're walking down into it, into the
Yes.
basin. Okay.
Yeah.
When you come upon the big tree, walking down into the basin, you see cracks in the ground. That the tree has sort of grown into the bottom of the basin.
Hmm.
Like there's cracks. And there is deep down in there, there's like a dark greenish purplish ooze. It sort of is like oozing into the basin roots of the tree, coming up from deep, deep, deep below.
Hmm.
And that looks extremely unnatural to you.
Hmm.
And you notice on the tree itself, it has what looks like, have you seen in Game of Thrones the Godswood trees that have like the faces? This tree has a gnarled looking face. It has a face on it, and it is gnarly looking and full of knots, and its eyes are closed. But yeah, that's what you see.
Interesting.
And Xerophon whispers and says, "This is the Nella tree, but it wasn't as so. I was not from this place for very long. I was not a natural citizen of Ythren, but it was not as so in the day. It appears that it has tapped into the deeps. Its face gnarled and changed. This is a memory unfamiliar. But this is indeed the Nether Oak. It of which mages would carve their wands from, soaked in powerful magic. And above you, the sky is sort of malfunctioning, flickering between storm sky and star sky. And everything seems kind of broken, and the cracks in the ground have that sort of strange purplish greenish ooze. What do you do?
I think I will.
So you look for an acorn.
Yeah,
Roll me a, I don't know, investigation check.
No.
Yeah, I'm
No,
sorry,
I
you don't
really-
find any acorns. There are no acorns
I
around.
really wanted an acorn. Oh well.
Jeff, can I tell about this oozy stuff?
Yeah.
Can I tell animal, vegetable, or mineral? Like it's not natural, but does it appear like organic or like rocky or like mystical?
Just from looking at it, or are you going to try to like get up on it?
I'm gonna hang on. Let me see. I feel like, does it look like a solid or a liquid? Just eyeballing it.
It looks like an ooze.
Okay, then I'm going to try.
I'm going to say a non-Newtonian fluid.
Okay, but non-Newtonian fluids can go in buckets or vials.
A colloid.
Okay, I would like to.
It's kind of deep. It's kind of deep down there in these cracks. Like you can see it down there, but you're gonna have to kind of like stick your arm down in there.
Is it more than 30 feet deep?
No.
Okay, then I'm going to mage hand it down there.
All right, so you mage hand a vial down there, and you scoop up a bit of the secret of the ooze from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From Ghostbusters 2. Or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. You scoop some of that up into a vial, and you have it. And it glows with sort of an eerie light.
Okay, I'm going to put a drop on the ground, like on the ground around the crack.
Yeah. It soaks into the ground and kind of hisses a bit as it does.
Okay, I'm going to pour a drop on a plant. Like a little shrubbery.
Like a little shrubbery. Just one drop?
Just one drop. I want to see like
the shrubbery kind of like reacts negatively to it.
Okay.
I don't know how a shrubbery reacts negatively. It kind of goes, "Ow!"
Hey tree wad, come here.
Don't you dare. I don't think so.
Actually, that was sort of a funny thing, but like, what is Tree Wad's in impression of, I guess, the goop, but also the grove in general?
Oh, that's fair.
You gonna pull the tree out?
Well, he's been riding the war llama.
Ride the war llama? Yeah, okay. I love how you have a tree riding a llama in your party just along for the ride. It's just a tree. Just a tree.
I love how I permanently disabled a spell slot to make this work.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
No. It's just you have a tree riding a llama. And I will give you benefit for this ability. You have a magic tree. He looks over and he goes, "They've been drinking some bad stuff. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. It feels ugly. Deep waters. I've heard of things like this. Profane magics from the Underdark."
What
the trees don't look purpley? Like the trees don't look like purpled and...
No, it's just the big tree in the center that seems to be sort of have delved deep into this.
Oh, gotcha. So maybe it's like down deep and the roots of the big tree have only hit it and the others are just trees.
Yep.
All right.
It delved too greedily and too deep.
So you know that carving a wand.
All right. I guess, absent our wizard, I'm going to attempt to carve a wand.
Okay. How do you do that?
And I'm going to keep that liquid like in a vial sort of at my waist.
Yeah, you for study later.
Right. I'll just go up and let me see. I'll go up and carve it off.
And as you strike the tree with your blade, the eyes of the tree open. And it speaks. And it's... And does anybody speak primordial?
Yeah, I actually do.
It speaks in primordial and says, who are you that wakes I, Nether Oak?
Oh, sorry.
And then it says the same in common to everybody else. Who are you who wakes I, Nether Oak?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were. I didn't know you could talk. I guess I should have introduced myself either way. Seems kind of rude of me in retrospect. So apologies. We're here to request to carve a branch of the nether oak.
What do you intend with this?
To complete a step of the arcane dad ritual.
What magics will you perform?
What magics do you want to see? Like, what makes you happy?
What do you intend to do with your power?
I got fire.
But what do you use your abilities for?
Oh, for combat. I got wind. I can build a wall of wind. It's pretty neat. I can cast fireball. Pretty good.
Yes, destruction. You seek to destroy, to tear down, to make submit to your will.
Well, I mean, sometimes destruction's easier than creation, but I also got a little cure wounds.
What nefarious deeds do you perform?
Wait, do you need evidence of nefarious deeds?
The tree just doesn't answer you.
Because I mean, we've basically doomed the world at this point. Like we aided in a dragon destroying a significant portion of the 10 towns.
You intend to destroy the world in dragon fire?
Well, I mean, I feel like that's sort of where we're headed anyway. So we're just along for the ride at this point.
You are a mage of evil.
I'm an artificer.
I don't know what that means. You are a mage of evil.
How do you feel about machines?
Roll me a persuasion check.
18 on a +0.
18 on a +0. Okay. And it turns to you, Granite Guts. What do you intend with wands of my branches? Do you seek to aid him in destruction of the world with dragonfire, bringer of fire and death?
I'm
in the background shaking my head.
Yes, you have been very quiet.
It seems to me like fire and trees don't mix, so I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah. I think that as a group, we all understand that sometimes the underbrush threatens to strangle out the healthier plants and trees in life, and so sometimes a little bit of a controlled burn is for the health of the forest, and the degree to which we do not shy away from that fact. At the same time, we do work towards a better good, so that the world can be a healthier place. That's our goal.
Are you a servant of evil?
Well, I am
he's really good at the death
accidentally.
part.
I
I'm
am
just-
blessed by an evil god, but that's not. We won't look into too deeply into that.
Servant of a real. Roll me a persuasion check.
Okay.
You serve the goddess of fury and death.
You said persuasion?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh dear.
He says, I will grant you wands, you nefarious wizards of evil. Take from my branches and build your wands. And it breaks off a couple of branches for you from its arms. The branches
I'm now
the
sort of
branches are
glad
sort
I. Oh, good.
branches are sort of dripping with this like greenish purplish ooze coming out of the sap from them that radiates a pure negative evil energy.
Ugh. I am now sort of glad I didn't find any acorns. I don't much care for this tree.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to take the evil tree wand.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I take another for safekeeping for Yatara.
Yeah. And
Before,
you're able to take pieces of wood. You solved my tree was going to bash you to death puzzle.
Oh yeah, I thought the tree, and we did it without lying.
true.
You did. It was very clever. You convinced a tree that you were evil without lying.
With
And we won't think too much more deeply into that or self-analyze at all.
I would just
Well,
like for everybody to recognize that Toot somewhere under the water is going reflecting on how evil we might be having left him 40 leagues under the sea.
His
well,
statue.
if we needed examples, that was on the list I was pulling from. So I forgot that Cadillac was blessed by an evil god. That was just a stroke of genius.
So as we sort of back away with our
Yeah, and I want
duty
you all
here.
I want you all to remember that Cantrell's character's like 12 feet tall now.
I'd also like everybody to recognize he didn't ask me if I was evil. He just looked at me and made assumptions. And let that be a lesson to everybody.
You're like a 12-foot tall Marfan man.
Yeah. Let that be a lesson to everybody in prejudice.
Listen. You're like the living embodiment of, God.
Evil Andre the Giant.
You're freaking Stretch Armstrong over there.
Hey, I'm okay with that.
The Kembe Matumbo.
Yeah. No.
No.
So before we leave, does Treewad have a little bit of a conversation or a moment with this other sentient tree?
Treewad just sort of looks at you and the wand and looks at the tree and just says, I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it one bit. That tree ain't right. Listen, I don't want to have a moment with him because me and him might get into it. And if we get into it, someone's going down. And I got some news for you. I ain't going down.
Got it. Well, it shan't come to that, Treewad. And I give him a pat on the branch.
Yeah, and it's raining this weird rain on top of you. Congratulations, you solved my find a wand puzzle. I was going to have you fight a tree. And just to show you what you'd have to fight, it was that. Yeah. It has about as many hit points as you would expect that it would.
6?
100?
1,000.
Oh.
Well, we have become eminently good negotiators.
Yeah, there you go.
Accidentally.
Good job. So yeah, you find yourselves in the middle of this grotto surrounded by trees, and you have branches that you could use to turn into wands.
Through
Astros,
the rite of the arcane dad, I believe was the
arcane
process.
octad. Well, fine. We'll go with the arcane dad, the arcane ritual of dads.
8 dads, if I remember.
Step 1 in the arcane ritual of dads, you got to find some kindling.
Speaking of which, have y'all ever listened to the Dad Lands?
Yes.
Amazing. Freaking amazing. The barbecue dads, the car
The car
dads.
dads.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, it's good.
It's
good.
very good.
If you like
Dad
D&D
jokes.
podcasts and
D&D
dad
podcasts
jokes.
and dad jokes. It's very good. Very, very good. The Dad Lands. Okay. Where are you guys off to now?
You said as we leave, you said that these trees have golden leaves,
Golden
right?
leaves.
Even though I did not find an acorn, I
You didn't find an acorn of the nether tree, but you haven't looked around other places.
I would. Is there a possibility of finding an acorn from one of these other non-diseased trees?
You could look.
Yeah. I'd like to take one more chance to look.
Roll investigation.
Okay. And if I don't, then I'll just snag a leaf. But
Okay.
oh yeah, pitiful.
Hey.
Pitiful.
Yeah, no acorns. Then maybe they don't produce acorns. You're not sure.
Yeah.
But you do grab a golden leaf.
Yeah. And
It's beautiful.
I sort of put that in my pack.
The golden leaf is absolutely beautiful. So yeah. Which way are you headed now?
Jeff, before we scuttle off, I'm just thinking, like, this is a nice looking area. Like, this might be where people would come and spend some time.
Yeah.
Like, if they were powerful wizard people who like nature.
Yes.
Has anybody left anything behind that managed to survive the aeons?
Like you're looking for...
Like a basket on a park bench, or a cloak, or I don't know.
Roll me investigation.
Just thinking.
What did you roll? 18.
18.
As you're looking around, you see signs of former inhabitation. You see, bits and pieces of stuff scattered around the ground. Like there's like maybe pieces of broken pottery and or pieces of broken cups and jars and things like that. You find some clothing that's sort of scattered around, buried in dirt under piles of leaves. As you're sort of kicking around, you're able to find a path, like a walking path, like a paved pathway through the park. And under a bunch of leaves and dirt and under there you find like some bits of clothing and things like that. Are you looking for anything specific, like hoping to find something magical?
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking with all these wizards like wandering around, like they leave stuff. The city unexpectedly went into decline, so maybe some dude who had a super cool wand or cloak or ring.
Yeah, just like you find a necklace of fireballs just lying
right.
there. No,
just cool wizard stuff.
Just lying there on the ground.
Oh, sweet. We could use one of those.
Well, I already found one of those lying around, and
you did. You did. How long are you going to? Let me ask you this: how long are you going to spend looking around the park investigating?
Oh, minutes.
If you're only spending minutes kicking some leaves around, then you don't find anything with that check.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking like, does anything stand out?
If we're just sort of giving a very cursory look, what I can tell you is bits of broken jars. You find some clothing that appears to be covered in dirt and doesn't appear fine or anything like that. under leaves, and you do find some scrap remains of like a book. But that's all you
Yeah.
sort of see, just sort of junk.
Okay.
But
Unless anybody else
going to
is
spend
standing around.
if you're going to spend more time, then maybe you can investigate one of those things a little closer, or you could look harder around looking for things.
No,
Like,
if anybody else is sticking around for a reason, I will look, but I'm not going to be the one holding us up just to pilfer. I'm content to move on.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm all about pilfering if I think there's one of those furry creatures under whatever we're pilfering through. If I think there's a possibility of a pelt under there, I'm all about it.
that's up to you guys.
It seems low peltability, unless you're looking for chipmunks.
It's possible.
I mean, everything seems dead around here, so I'm looking for anything I can get. But I'm good if we need to move on.
You guys tell me. Sticking around and hunting or moving on?
While
Sounds
we're
like we're
here,
moving.
oh, never mind.
I mean, I don't want to. I'm like Kenny. I don't want to sort of slow everybody down, but
No, I mean, it's a group decision.
Yeah,
Which
I mean,
one do?
if we're all going to spend some time wandering around, I will devote a fair amount of time to looking for stuff.
You're not gonna get magic items for free, just like it's
No.
lying out in the open. If you
No.
spend time looking, you might find something.
I'm interested in the piles of clothing. Like, I feel like the piles of clothing
Okay.
are probably formerly people.
Okay, Kenny, roll me a D100, please.
37.
All right. Yes, you pull up some of the clothing, and there are, as you pull it up, yes, some bone falls out, and it kind of, you kind of step back a little bit, but yeah, it was a person at one point. And as you sort of dig further, you do find like some cloaks and things like that.
Do I see anything that has like weathered the ages surprisingly well?
Of the clothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rifling through pockets, like I'm checking this stuff out since I made the decision to delve deep.
Yeah, there is one that you pull up, and it's kind of pretty looking. It's green, has sort of a green hood, and made out of this fine, like, leaves on it almost, like, which is a little odd for this city, which is very mechanical, because it's very nature oriented, which is sort of strikes you as strange, and it seems to have lasted much longer than you would expect. In better shape for having been left under the leaves for a long time.
All right, I'm going to offer that up. Well, I don't have it identified, but I think it may be useful to somebody who is perhaps not an intellect caster. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
I don't love that. That didn't come from the cloak, did it?
No.
I immediately
Oh.
look at Xeraphon and went, Xeraphon, what the hell was that?
yeah. And Harkus immediately starts smiling
I
because that sounds like a very large pet.
I do not know.
Where's that coming from?
As
wait.
you sort,
It
Okay.
sounds like it's getting closer.
what do you do as you sort of hear the sound? Kenny, you've lifted up this cool looking pelt.
I'm I'm
You
gonna
hear
put that.
you hear a horrible grunting sound coming from somewhere inside of the arboretum.
So there are buildings surrounding the arboretum. Can we make it to one of them for cover? Or are they too far away?
Boy, that I don't know. You're in the middle of an arboretum. It's several hundred yards on either side. Depends on how close whatever is making the grunty sounds is to you.
So Harkus is what, 12 feet
You
high
haven't-
at this point?
Arcus is like 10 feet tall.
Oh.
He's big, but he's not outlandish.
Do we want to make for the sandcastle?
Oh yeah, the Doom Castle. Yeah, I vote for the Doom Castle.
Like right there?
Okay. As you start to turn that way, rounding the corner out in front of you, I turn off the armor fully. Hold on. I gotta turn off the grunting noises. I never liked the grunting noises. Like, why do we need grunts? Come on. That's better. Turn off the sword clashing and the taking damage. There we go. Rounding around the corner is something that you had seen previously. But when you had seen it previously, it appeared only to be a statue. Because what you see around in the corner is a full live version of this thing. And it lets out, immediately in front of you, the most horrible noise imaginable, out of its middle of its gut, and bears its weapon. And everybody go ahead. Let me clear the tracker first, because you're going to be rolling initiative here. And roll initiative. Because this thing is blocking your path.
Let me click me so that.
It's massive and standing in your way, bearing a giant hammer-like thing as it clawed its way out of the ground around you. Covered in similar green oozy stuff. All right. Let's see who's first. Who has the better dex between Leonard and Ordella?
Let me see. Yeah.
Ordella, what's your dex score?
+2, Leonard.
I got a +2.
Okay, so which of you wants to go first? You're completely tied.
We'll let Ordella go first.
Ordella, you're up first as this horror appears in front of you. You thought it was a statue, but there's another one of them full alive. You think alive. You're not actually certain what kind of creature this is. All you know is it's horrifying. With its stomach, gut, mouth, and multiple teeth and giant hammer.
How big is it?
It is huge.
Cool.
So huge in D&D is like giant sized,
I think I
massive.
should firebolt. Okay.
What do
I
you
want
do?
to click on that 4. Do a firebolt at it. And we did not do well.
That's a critical miss.
Yeah.
You have second attack or anything?
Yeah. All right. So let's do firebolt again. So click that 4 again.
Firing another firebolt
Uh-huh.
at it.
Right.
11.
love you, Jeff.
Unfortunately, an 11 does not hit.
Ah.
Leonard, you're up.
Okay. Leonard is going to summon my drone. And I'm going to summon it like next to the thing.
Okay.
And let it use its.
I'm not gonna really have a thing for your drone out. Sort of
That's
theater
fine.
of the mind.
It's just doing its thing.
Okay.
DC 16 dex save.
Dexterity is not this thing's strong suit. It's big. Rolls an 11.
14 fire damage.
Let's see. Is it resistant to fire?
I hope not.
You blast it with fire, and it seems to do nothing.
Oh.
It is this horror's turn, and it's going to make a melee attack against you, Leonard. It's going to it's going to try to hit you with its giant sledgehammer.
That's fair.
20 to hit.
That will be a hit.
That is 23 bludgeoning damage.
Oh my goodness.
And it does that again. I assume a 13 is a miss, though.
Oh no, a 13 meets it, beats it.
A 13 meets it, beats it. This does 21 bludgeoning damage to you.
Cool, cool, cool.
And it lets out that similar, like, horrific roar sound. And Cadillac, you're up.
Okay. I am going to get as close as I dare to it here, and then I'm going to attempt to hit it a couple of times with Dust Crusher.
Okay. You... Let's see here. Sorry, I'm on the wrong thing here. Yes, you hit it both times.
Okay, sweet.
One-handed or two-handed?
Two-handed.
So, it's 13. And it is not undead. Whoops. I screwed that up. Hang on. Oh. Ooh. Hold on. I didn't know that my num lock was turned off. So minus 13 and then minus 15. Anything else?
Do I have time to shout something, or would that take an action?
Shouting is a free action unless you're casting a spell or something.
Okay. I whip around and I say, Xeraphon, prove your worth.
I am not a fighter.
God's damn it, Xeraphon.
I have no weapons. Give me a weapon.
Do you
me
really
something.
do zero magic? Zero. In the Society of Magic Users.
I'm not a mage.
You're the only one in the whole community that does no magic.
You mean to tell me we released the only non-magic user in this city?
I told you I am not from Yithrin. Ugh. And,
I want to shake you so bad, but it's not my turn.
Right. I took an action to shake Xeraphon within an inch of his life.
He runs over and tries to, like, tackle the creature. And he rolls.
You know what? Good effort. Good effort.
That is a miss.
Oh no.
The thought that counts.
And that is
Thanks,
a miss.
buddy.
He tries to grab a leg and like do a single leg takedown on it. He says, "Give me a weapon." And that doesn't work. And Harkus, you're up.
All right, I'm going to. Well, Is the thing really all the way over here? Is it? I
No,
assume
you're within.
it's
You can get within melee range of it. This is just sort of what it is.
Okay. Well,
The range here is all theater of the mind.
all right. Then I'm going to go up to it and swing at it a couple of times with my staff.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to get up in its face, it doesn't have a face. If you want to get up in its gut, yeah, you can. That is a miss.
That one hits.
Yes, that one does hit.
So 20, and then because I feel like doing it, we're gonna flurry of blows him as well.
Okay.
I'm on 14.
That is a miss.
Ow.
Yeah, that'll hit.
For another 10.
Okay. All right. Leonard, you're up.
I have,
Ordella's up.
Hold on, Jeff. Hold on, just.
Yeah.
I think I have.
You have some ability here?
So I have this pressure ability that when I hit a creature that with an attack that deals bludgeoning damage, which is what my staff does,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
I can move it back 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided that it is no more than one size larger than me. And since
It is more than one size larger than you. Well,
Really?
oh no, wait, you're huge.
yeah, I'm huge.
You've grown.
Too.
Yeah, you're able to push it back. Because you're big now.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, you're able to push it back some. Okay. Now, Ordella, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to get my dancing longsword out.
Okay.
And attack with that.
All right. 16 is a miss.
Ah! All right. And then a firebolt.
Okay. That'll hit.
Yay, finally. 12.
And that does 12 fire damage.
Yes.
Doesn't seem to do any damage to it. Leonard, you're up.
All right. Sorry, try not to sneeze. Leonard is going to not going to use that necklace of fireballs.
Seems to be resistant or immune to fire.
Yeah. I'm not going to use that scorching ray or that fireball. I guess I am going to cast catapult on a rock.
Okay.
Another DC 16 dex save.
Yeah, it's not very dexterous. Fails that.
16 bludgeoning damage from a rock.
Hit. That'll hit. You know, maybe resistance, not exactly magical, but it. Ow.
And then I'm gonna get the
Your drone is still there too.
I'm gonna get the drone in its face, and step back.
Okay. So the drone just trying to get in its way.
Right, and make it so that it can't. Well, I guess it can move past the drone because the drone can't do attacks of opportunity. But
Yes.
just want the drone to be the closest thing to it, so that if
Yeah.
it is unintelligently targeting.
It seems to have some intelligence to
Oh
it.
yeah, I know.
It pushes past the drone and runs at Harkus, who melee smacked it and pushed it. And it tries to claw at you, Harkus. 17?
That hits.
That does 12 slashing. And 11 is a critical miss. It tries to bite you with its stomach. 14?
Nope.
Very lucky that 30 crit didn't hit. All right, Cadillac, you're up.
Okay. Would it be an action for me to arm Xerophon?
No.
Okay. Let's see.
Jeff, is regret an action or a bonus action?
Regret? That's a free action. Crying is always a free action.
You know what? I fling him my lance, so that he can attack this thing at distance.
What are the
since he is
stats?
otherwise
What are the
unarmed.
stats on the lance?
1d12 plus 5 reach.
And it's a dex-based weapon? Or strength-based?
I do not know.
We'll say d20 plus. I'm going to give him plus 6 to hit. And it's a d12?
Okay. Yes, 1d12 plus 5.
He'll go after your turn. You tell him to hit.
Okay. And then I
He
and then I do my attack.
Okay.
Bam bam.
miss hit.
Okay. How's he looking?
Pretty good.
Hmm.
You did 12 damage. Seraphon rolls at... Oh, that hits. So he hits him with the lance. The lance is what, a d12 plus what?
D12 plus 5.
What's the plus 5 from?
Oh, that's just the damage roll. The hit DC is
That's
plus
your
7.
That's your damage, right? He would be plus 4, so
yeah.
that's a 12. So that's 12 damage. Is that a ranged weapon? Like he threw the lance into him?
It is reach. You don't throw it, you poke it.
Okay, so
you poke people
he
with
runs
it.
up and pokes at it.
Yeah.
All right. Harkus, you're up.
All right. I'm going to swing at him a couple of more times. $17
is a hit. Nice.
So 20 on that one.
Okay.
I will hit him again.
It's a hit.
Okay. And then I'm going to... So I have... Let me see. Where did this go? So I have Stunning Strike.
Uh-huh.
So when I hit him with a melee weapon attack, I can spend a key point to make him stunned until the end of my next turn if he fails a con save.
Yes.
So I will spend a key point and see how that goes.
24.
That did not go as well as I had hoped.
Passes that con save. Not stunned. Ordella, you're up.
All right. Use my dancing longsword.
Okay. Miss.
course it does. And then I'm going to use Tasha's Caustic Brew on him.
Okay.
See if that does anything.
He is not very dexterous, so he passes.
Of course he does.
Did you take half damage?
Let's see.
Sometimes on these things they'll take half.
It doesn't say. So I guess not.
Nope. Alas.
Oh well.
Leonard.
Oh, ignored that because that was just me marking it as used.
All right, Leonard is going to, I guess, again cast Catapult. DC 16 deck save.
Okay. Very undexterous, these things. That's an 8.
All right, so that's another 18 bludgeoning damage.
Y'all are just sort of throwing rocks at it. Anything else, Leonard?
No, all my other spell slots are
Fire-based?
Fire-based, because we're in an ice campaign, so it seemed most
reasonable.
appropriate.
It tries to bring its sledgehammer down on Harkus. 27 to hit Harkus.
Oh, sure. Why not?
26 bludgeoning damage. I'll do that again. 19 to hit.
Yep.
33 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
That's its turn. Cadillac's up.
Okay. I
Yikes, that thing
am
does a lot of damage.
I'm going to just continue for the moment, straight up waylaying him with Dust Crusher.
Well, it did just do 59 damage to Harkus.
I didn't quite realize it was that much.
Yeah, 59 total on its last turn to Harkus. But yeah, waylay away on it.
Well, you know what? I will go ahead and say, be gone with you in the name of Sylvanas, and then I will activate the Death Ray.
Okay. You Care Bear stare at it. Oh, damn. It's very constitutionally strong. It's not very dexterous, but it's got a high con. 20. So it passes. Takes half that.
Correct, and it is not blinded.
So that's what, 14? Is that right?
Yes, and let me make sure I have the right of that. Sunbeam. On a fail, on a successful save, it takes half damage. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Harkus, are you going to go get back up in melee with it? You're the one that's running up on it in melee. Everybody else is kind of standing back a little bit. Leonard's throwing rocks, and Cadillac's Care Bear staring, and Ordella's got a dancing sword. She's slinging at it. Harkus is running up, and that's why Harkus got hit with a hammer.
I mean, does he look okay? What's he look like?
How does Harkus look?
A little worse for the wear, but I'm okay.
Yeah, so he looks a little worse for the wear, but okay.
All right. Well, I feel like he and I may just duke this out until the very end. So I'm going back up. You do what you do.
You punch really hard. That's what you do. Yeah, that'll do it.
Oh, I rolled the wrong one. Hold on just a second. And then...
So we've got...
So 17. And then I'm going to swing at him again.
18 hits.
For 8 more.
Okay.
Oh.
Stunning strike or flurry of blows or...
You know what? I think I've learned my lesson. So I'm going to spend a key point to disengage and run away.
Okay. You disengage and you're able to get away from it, at least to some degree. And it is Ordella's turn.
All right. Dance a longsword. Please.
That hits.
Yay. For 10.
Okay. Yep.
Am I allowed to do it twice?
Yeah. You
Okay.
have to. You're a fighter, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't know about the longsword.
What level
part.
fighter are you now?
Oh, Lord. 10.
But you're also part artificer too, right?
Yeah.
So you're like a level 9 fighter, level 1 artificer?
I don't even know how it's split.
Okay.
Yeah.
That misses.
Yeah.
Leonard.
All right.
This thing's
I'm
a
out of-
horrifying monster.
I'm out of slots there, so let's move down a notch for another catapult for 12 bludgeoning damage.
Dexterity. Fail.
All right.
Okay, Leonard, you bring it down. Describe to me how.
Okay, so you see a rock that levitates up from the ground and then goes flying like right in between all those rows of teeth and like thwacks it in the back of the throat.
Yeah.
And then you hear it sort of choke on it and then drop to the ground.
And when it drops to the ground, Leonard, it instantly petrifies and turns to stone. A stone statue.
So
just like
that's
the
the
one you've seen
statue.
previously.
All right. So it burrowed out of the ground.
Yes.
Can we can I look at the space it burrowed from?
Yeah, it's
Like,
all
is
sort of
it-
it's all sort of collapsed down on itself. So there's not like a tunnel that you can pass.
Okay,
through.
so it doesn't look like a tunnel network. I'm going to ask
No.
Cadillac to double check me on that, given stone cunning and dwarven knowledge of tunnels and stuff. Make a tunnels and stuff roll.
Yeah, I'll be happy to investigate.
But if it's pretty clear that it's just a collapsed, like it's not an underground network of whatever's.
There doesn't
tunnel.
appear to be an underground network, but they appear to be tunneling creatures, however that works.
All right, fair enough.
On the topic of investigation, there's something I would like to try.
Yeah.
I still have Sunbeam activated.
Yep, you're still blasting the sunbeam.
And as I read it here, it is a mote of brilliant radiance.
Yes.
That goes just off.
Mm-hmm.
Since the creature is extinguished, I would like to attempt to use Sunbeam while I have it active as basically a piercing floodlight, and see if it will illuminate anything of interest on the edifices of the buildings around us. I don't think can it get to the central tower?
What's the range on it?
Let me see. A 60-foot long, so I bet not, huh?
No.
Yeah.
As you floodlight it around, you are heading towards that spiry building in front of you at the edge of the northern part of the grotto that you were just in. Here's what you can see. That one moment. Okay. You see in through some of the windows of that building there, Cadillac, and you're able to see into the building slightly with with the light from Dusk Crusher blasting at it. And what you see are shelves with books lining all the way around through the window, and what appears to be some sort of colossal library. Tons and tons and tons of books through the window that you've illuminated with the light of Dusk Crusher, shining pure radiance into that building that you were trying to run towards to take shelter from the grunting noise that you heard as it pulled itself up out of the ground. Everybody roll insight. I don't think anybody caught this. It's going to be a hard insight roll. Okay. Yeah. Nobody really catches it. Because nobody caught this to begin with. Leonard, the cloak that you found is sort of shimmering as you've pulled it out.
Yes. I want to, I guess eventually Yatara will cast Identify on it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But
sure. Do you want Yatara to do that now?
That'd be great. I feel like it could be useful to somebody who is not me.
If you want to take 10 minutes standing here, I'm sure he would do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You have found a cloak of elven kind.
Okay, a cloaking robe of elven kind is... What's that do?
Cloak of elven kind. Cloak of elven kind, when you are wearing it, wisdom perception checks have disadvantage against you. You have advantage on stealth checks made to hide. It's like in Lord of the Rings, like sort of hide yourself in the rocks with the cloak. Things can't see you as easily, and you're able to hide. And anybody that's trying to perceive you has a harder time.
Okay.
So advantage on stealth checks, and everybody else has disadvantage on perception checks for you. You can hide easier.
Anybody want that? I mean, if that would be useful for anybody.
I'd like that.
Or Della, maybe? Right. That's sort of what I was thinking. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Odella, as you attune to and put on the Cloak of Elven kind, you're sneakier. You have advantage on all stealth checks.
Ooh.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Very sneaky, sir. Cloak of elven kind.
Yep. And I think this is as good a place as any for us to wrap it up for the evening, as you have obtained a wand from the ancient nether tree, nether oak, and you've dealt with the evil nether oak, and have faced your first tome tapper. The ancient
our first what?
Tome tapper.
Tome tapper?
Tome tapper. That's what that monster with a mouth and its tummy is.
Okay, I'm excited about this library. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too.
I thought you might be, which is why I wanted that to be the cliffhanger to bring you back next week on Rime of the Frostmaiden.
And unfortunately, though, Cadillac in using Dust Crusher as a spotlight instantly incinerated all the books.
Yeah, you see flames start to lick up.
Flames belching out of the windows.
No!
Well, I'm sure Professor Scott is pumped about it too.
Colossal library. Oh yeah, for sure. Excited, like a library of the Wizard City. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm super pumped.
We'll see you guys next week.
See y'all.
Awesome.
See
Good
y'all.
night, everybody.
Bye.